How are you? It's a good day to be alive, isn't it? Oh, yes, it is. I have missed you. I know you've missed me too. It's been a minute. Oh, yeah. But I bring you good news. We are studying discipline 4 of the 4 disciplines of execution. We have talked about discipline 1, 2, and 3, and I know that you have learned a lot from this book that we are currently studying. So discipline 4 is titled Creating a Cadence of Accountability. Oh yeah. And I know we are going to learn so much today. If today is your first time, in this channel, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe and click on the notification so that you'll be the first to get notified every time we post, content on this channel so that you don't miss out on anything. So let's commence. The fourth discipline is to create a cadence of accountability, a frequently recurring cycle of accounting for past performance and planning to move the score forward. Discipline 4 is where execution actually happens. As we've said, discipline 1, 2, and 3 set up the game. But until you apply discipline 4, your team isn't in the game. That is what the author has to say. Now, I'll just like us to discuss, what it means to be accountable. When it comes to delegation, delegating responsibilities to team and to people and all of that. For you to be able to get your deliverables, the end result for the task you hand out to people, they need to be held accountable for those deliverables. I said every member of your team needs to be held accountable for the part of the job committed to his or her hands. Now, you know what it means to be accountable. Like you were given a task to do, a task, move this mountain from north to south. It is a job handed over to you and you are supposed to be accountable for it. When people show up at meetings and they cannot account for the jobs that have been given to them, it either means that they are lazy or irresponsible or just cannot do the job. But it's the job of the leader of that team to hold his or her members accountable for the jobs given to them. I mean, there's a saying, people don't do what you ask, they do what you supervise. So accountability meetings are supposed to enable people give reports of the jobs handed to them. So when people are aware that they have to, give reports, they will hardly fail. So this is why accountability meetings must be set and held. And accountability meetings must have an agenda, straight to the point. You cannot, not be intentional about accountability meetings, because people have the tendency to quickly deviate, especially if they are trying not to be accountable. So as a team lead, you have to make sure that the agenda for your accountability meeting is very clear to everybody, so that everyone is up on their feet and knows what is expected of them, so they know what they are expected to report. So the author goes ahead to say, great teams operate with a high level of accountability. Without it, team members go off in all directions with each doing what he or she thinks is most important. Under this approach, the whirlwind soon takes over. So if nobody has direction as to this is what you are going to be held accountable for, if the job is just thrown in the air for anybody to catch, no one is going to catch it. It is better you specify everybody's job. You, James, this is your job. Excuse me. You, Jennifer, this is your job. You, Julia, this is your job. So that you can hold Janet Julia, and every other person accountable for the specific task or tasks that you gave to them. Also, accountability ensures that the goal is met no matter what. Because when you have already been specific about the task, you know who to hold responsible for what. So they know not to come back with excuses at the next accountability meeting, because they know that this very job will be required of their hands. So accountability meetings or accountability ensures that come hell, come high water, the job is done. In most organizations, I'm reading from the book now, accountability means the annual performance review, hardly an engaging experience, whether you are giving or receiving the review. It can also mean being called on the carpet for something you failed to accomplish. On the other hand, in a 4DX organization, accountability means making personal commitment to the entire team to move the scores forward and then following through in a disciplined way. Accountability helps people to be disciplined. Nobody wants to come in front of the board and make a mess of themselves, as long as your establishment is not a joke. People don't want to make a mess of themselves when they are put, on a platform to give a report for something they were asked to do. So that's why accountability meetings and review sessions are important, because it will keep people on their toes and they would deliver no matter what. I also wrote that accountability is the goal to a very successful execution of any goal. So, like I said before now, if nobody is being held responsible for anything, nobody is going to take responsibility for anything. So don't have the habit of throwing the job or the task in the air for anybody to catch. People don't like to, the nature of humans it doesn't move them to take up stress. Nobody wants to be stressed. But when you give people tasks and they know that this task is either they do it or they face the embarrassment, they would do it. So accountability makes sure that every task, every job is, executed successfully. So the focus of the WIG session, that's the accountability session, is simple: to hold each other accountable for taking the actions that will move the lead measures, resulting in the achievement on the WIG despite the whirlwind. Easy to say, but hard to do. To ensure that this focus is achieved every week, 2 rules of the WIG sessions must be absolutely followed. 1. The WIG session should be held on the same day and at the same time every week. It is important. For some organizations, their meetings are on Mondays. It's the first day of a business week, so everybody is up on their feet and all of that. So it is important that everybody knows that Mondays are for accountability. So everybody make sure that from last week Monday to Friday, everything they have to do is done, because the next Monday is an accountability meeting that they cannot afford to miss. So it's important that you have these meetings on the same day at the same time, so that people are kept on their toes and will not slack on their job. That's the first rule. So it says this consistency is critical. Without it, your team will never be able to establish a sustained rhythm of performance. Missing even a single week causes you to lose valuable momentum. This is so true. And they said this loss of momentum impacts your results. This means that the WIG session is sacred. I like the way he puts it. That it takes place every week, even if the leader can't attend and has to delegate the role of leading. It means if maybe the leader, assuming I'm the leader of a certain meeting that has to hold on Monday and have to be maybe out of the country or something, I can always delegate somebody to stand in for me as long as that meeting holds on that Monday. Because if 1 week slacking, the author says, reduce the momentum of your team. Yep. The author advised that we shouldn't let unnecessary distractions make its way into the accountability meetings. These things may be important because they are things that affect the organization. But the purpose of the meeting is to, give reports on specific tasks assigned to the team members. So let's not let other issues that are not relevant to the wildly important goal creep into the meeting. As a leader of the team, when you find out that your people are about to bring up a matter, even if it's important but it's not related to the agenda, respectfully ask them to set up a meeting to discuss this another time or at the end of the accountability meeting. This is to ensure that the focus of the team is not distorted. In a week session, which is, in the accountability meeting, says you and every team member of your team are accountable for moving the metrics on the scoreboard. You accomplish this by committing each week to 1 or 2 specific actions that will directly affect your lead measures, and then reporting to each other in the next week's WIG session on your results. I said a while ago that you shouldn't let things that are not important creep into your week session, and you should also be specific about your delegation so that everybody understands what to report in the next meeting. This is just basically what this place is saying. Specific tasks, 1 or 2. We know that this is what we're supposed to achieve this week, so we understand that in the next meeting these are the things we're expected to report on. It keeps people focused on the things that they are expected to actually work and report on. Yeah. The author said, goals cannot sound noble but vague. Targets cannot be so blurry that they can't be hit. Your direction has to be so vivid that if you randomly woke up one of your employees in the middle of the night and asked him, "Where are we going?" he could still answer in a half-asleep stupor. Everybody has to understand where the team is going. It is important because if everybody understands what the common goal is, everybody would individually, independently work on their part of the job to make sure that the common goal is achieved. So there's something I wrote here. I said the regular week sessions keeps bringing the whole organization's focus back to what matters the most. It's possible that in the course of week 2 of, say, September 2022, I'll lose focus, maybe in the middle of the week for one reason or the other. But the week session, that's the accountability meeting of next week Monday, can always set me back, put me back in perspective. Man, this is what we're trying to achieve. You get focus. So that's why I said the regular sessions keeps bringing the whole organization's focus back to what matters the most. So meetings are important to remind us this is where we're going. Meetings are important to make us report on how far we've gone. Meetings are important to help us know how much more that we need to do. Another very important point. Week sessions must be as brief as possible. I had talked about setting agendas so that irrelevant things do not creep in. Week sessions must be target oriented. That's the accountability sessions. They must be target oriented. You get very short, straight to the point. Nobody should give long stories. The question is, you were supposed to deliver this, and this. How far have you gone? It shouldn't take so much explanation to tell the team, this is where we were last week. This is what we've been able to achieve. This is what is left. Do not let your team members form the habit of explaining too much, giving so much excuses. The job has to be done. The focus is on the goal, and the goal has to be achieved. So we have to learn to keep accountability sessions short, straight to the point, and simple. The author said something here which I even went ahead to highlight. He said the more they talk, the less they did. So you should try and ensure that your team doesn't talk so much, because if they sat down to discuss so much about what needed to be done, they are already wasting time and wouldn't do what needed to be done. So let's talk more work. Let's talk more work. So lastly, before I round up this discipline, I'd love to say that in accountability meetings, every member is supposed to be committed to helping each other, especially when they face obstacles. Because if, say we're trying to build a 3-story building, and the people responsible for, supplying the iron or making sure that the concrete and the sand and everything is on site are failing, those responsible for the actual, making the building blocks, digging the foundation, their jobs will also be, delayed. So if you find a way you could help your team member deliver their jobs quicker, it'll also go a long way to help the team in general, because one person's success is everybody's success. One person's failure is everybody's failure. So we have come to the end of studying this book. We have discussed all 4 disciplines, and I know that it's been very helpful, because it's been very helpful to me. I lead a couple of small groups, and this book has opened my eye to a lot of team management things that prior to today I was unaware about. So just, to remind us of all 4 disciplines. The first one is to focus on the wildly important. The second one is to act on lead measures. The third is to keep a compelling scoreboard. And the fourth is to create a cadence of accountability. These 4 disciplines are very, very important. And trust me, if you try to implement it on your team the best way that you can, you would see tremendous, tremendous results. I hope that you enjoyed this book. The next book we're going to review, I promise you, is going to be very, 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 very interesting. I hope to bring it shortly to you. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for watching. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing if there's anything like that. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.